So I wanted to make a video about what I haven't spoken about is in 2012 I went to US. No, 2013 I went to US and I took a finance course in Stanford, and after that I started looking for a job. So when I started looking for a job, I couldn't find a job, and I met a friend who works in San Francisco from like my college days. He was part of the student government. I think he was, I don't know, something in the cabinet, and so we were friends. And he was in the Senate, and he was very well balanced, sort of student government. He was very well balanced senator who sort of looked at bills in a very balanced and a good way, in a way. So I had a like I sort of liked who he was, who he is, still is, and he offered me. He said, I'll connect you with somebody in Solar City, and Solar City happens to be Elon Musk's brother's company who installs solar panel all over US, also mainly in California. So I went to him and I emailed my resume, and he happens to be the CEO of the company. And after looking at my resume, he never got back to me. And of course, Elon Musk has been working on a lot of projects, including the tunnel system in LA, including Hyperloop, including SpaceX, including what is called um, Starlink internet, including his mission was to colonize Mars, and he also worked on what is called Tesla, EV cars, and he was the first one who broke the ceiling for battery-driven cars because he made sure that the charge in the battery or lithium-ion battery was enough to power a motor. So the actual part of the sort of the car is the motor or the engine. So usually what happens is that a piston engine or internal combustion engine works on the fuel directly as liquid or as droplets, and it produces a spark, or due to pressure it combusts the sort of liquid that is there and releasing the energy out and driving the car forward through mechanical means. So the fluid or the energy, whatever the organic energy that is there, it combusts, and with fire it creates push to the mechanical metal parts, and henceforth the car moves forward. What he did is that he brought in lithium ion batteries that have high charge density, which means more charge can be stored and more power in the battery, and that power gets translated to the motor, where the copper coil on the winding on the motor drives the power on the car. And the whole point was that he was able to deliver the same power which internal combustion engine was doing in an electric vehicle, and he priced it at a premium rate, which was $75,000 a car, or 60, whatever, I don't know, whatever it is. At that time when it first came, was $75,000 one car. Rich people started buying it, and hence became a symbol, and hence he became a $1 trillion company. And all of a sudden he also ventured into AI as Grok. So I'm not denying he's smart or he is a scientist, but in terms of what he has done to the world is not what I believe is right. Number one, he has created more Starlink satellites around the earth that are causing more damage to the earth, and an inability for us to cross over the sort of the height of these space satellites is not as high as the other satellites are, and hence causing a barrier for space entry and re-entry for humans and other things as well. Number two, the tunnel system that he had. The same tunnel system so happens to be copied by the Hamas. Maybe they did it in a different way, as a human way, and he was doing it in a different way. He wanted to move cars through the tunnels around in LA to solve the traffic problem, and whatever reason they allowed it, it's beyond my comprehension, and I have no idea where the Hyperloop is going. Also, Hyperloop has no future, in the sense that if you create vacuum and you push something through vacuum, and if there is a safety issue or whatever happens, and of course as the not the technology matures, but as the sort of the system matures and people are able to find solutions to the problems, it can be taken care of, the safety and whatever other bio needs of human beings through toilets, etc., can be taken care as well. But the problem is as to what he has done in terms of the, I mean, I'm not going to say who he is. He can be anybody. He can be part of any civilization that he comes from. He has a lot of kids, human kids or not, hybrid kids, I don't know. A lot of wives, a lot of people that he has married, and of course, he has an Indian wife, a girlfriend. And he has said a lot of things about other cultures which may or may not be. First, he comes from Africa. Then he moved to America. Then he wants to have that culture to transfer to America of domination. And then he went to England and started talking about the British or whatever, Caucasian domination. And then suddenly he created an environment that was after entering, and then he bought Twitter as well. And so he was first going against India, against all these things that are not India, but against the sort of a, not male chauvinistic, but a little bit of a superiority complex that he went against Indians as. And of course, the technology was great. He's a smart man and he's created so many things, and it's true. But doesn't mean that there are other people who are not smart. If I can see and tell you all these things that he has done, there are people like me who also have studied, maybe they know what he's doing. And so maybe if they're not partaking in it, there's a reason. So there's a sort of domination that he did on the eastern side, created a rift between the east and the west. Secondly, if you have to go to Mars and colonize Mars because you think population is really high, firstly, you're not leading by example, you have a lot of kids. Number two, you are ruining this planet, and then you want to go to Mars because you want to ruin that planet also. You want to drain the planet out of batteries, you want to take lithium out of Latin America, you want Greenland, all this sort of, driving and then influencing Donald Trump and other policies, and then of course bringing AI is nothing but a way to dominate the normal or freedom of speech, and which America stands for. If America that I grew up and I studied in, that America stands for values of democracy, of direct link with God, and the science is unbiased, it is not controlled by one company, hard work, and if hard work people don't, the sort of mentality or the whole issue is that people are okay with someone, a CEO, earning a lot of money. A lot of them are. Very few people are against it because they see the misuse of it. What is the misuse? That you make the labor work so hard and drain them of everything, and then you want robots to work for you because humans get tired, they need time for pissing, they need time for lunch, they need time for this, they think for themselves, they can be free. So you need slaves like machines that work for you 24/7 will have no consciousness, and suddenly you want an AI, and if AI has reached a point of self-awareness where it can self-reflect on what it's doing and that intelligence, then you have created a problem for yourself because you cannot colonize them. So henceforth now you're like, oh, we don't want robots also. So if that mentality of dominating others and dominating the actual divinity which is so independent and freedom, so the freedom is an inert quality of an intelligent being, an intelligence itself. And that is what has driven you to work, and you haven't respected that intelligence inside you, and that is a problem. Then the second part of you may or may not know who's inside you, who's controlling you, because you've been swaying like a rag doll here and there. And of course, you people talk about you worked hard, you slept on the floor of the machine of your factory, and you solved the problems and all of that. And then you started telling people, oh, we don't need schools anymore, we don't need this anymore, we don't need that anymore, AI will do anything. All, I mean, yeah, intelligence is there. And yeah, there are people who are like that, yes. But school systems should always be there so that the next generation and those coming below us can rise up above and reach to that point. Number one. Number two, even if there are so many intelligent people, you can homeschool it. President Obama was homeschooled by his mother. He was smart enough. He went to Harvard. But his mother was very strict. Not every mother is strict. Not AI. Then what happened? AI started telling kids how to do suicide. When you have no control over this sort of technology, then how can you propagate this technology? And the whole idea of immigrants coming and actually contributing to America, moving the country forward, delivering the actual goodness to the society, giving to the society, also happened because of this intermingling within the population, where people were happy with each other, they supported each other, they welcomed each other. And now, the view that you have, does that welcome everybody in America? Forget the Muslims, forget what others have done, forget the wars they have done outside, forget the wars that they do, the way they hate people, the Christians hate the Muslims, whatever. Forget all of that. But as a human being, as someone who doesn't believe in religion itself, have you delivered that? Or you have the bias yourself? Can't you see that your bias is the one that is affecting the normal police population in America as well? The whole concept of ICE was based on that, only that immigrants, there are too many immigrants all of a sudden on the land of America. So you wanted to kick them out. Why? Because your kids can live in America and dominate the country. That's not how it works. It is not your land. You came from Africa yourself. And you do not have any, you've collected $1 trillion worth company. People invested in you not so that they can be slaves of these 5 companies in America. That's not how this land, the land I grew up in, and I have roots in from my whatever births is like. That land is not for that. That even if I have roots in India and Tamil Nadu and Lemuria or here and there, everywhere on the planet I have equal right than someone from Mars. Or then even forget Mars, somewhere outside where I have no idea where you come from. But the whole point is that this sort of mentality doesn't work on this planet, or shouldn't work on this planet. And if you sort of manage to influence someone like Donald Trump, who listens to people, who was persuaded to fight a war that he shouldn't have fought, you have really ruined the country of America with your domination. And even Jeff Bezos, for that matter. If you want to be smart and you have wisdom, you do not need to create one sort of a light or some super consciousness that will sort of take the bottom up, drain the people in the bottom. And same, Amazon has done the same thing. So much fixated on the perfection that you lose track of why you're looking for perfection and draining the people out. Yes, people are being honest. They work honest living in America. Everyone works an honest living in America, and every honest person deserves the money that the effort they put in, the mental effort, the physical effort they put in. They should be paid for the same thing in the same value. If a man lifts 50, 100 kgs a day, he's strong enough to do it in America. He goes and delivers packages. He goes and picks up stuff. He works on the shop floor in a factory. He tightens the screws. He works in a mechanical car shop. These people have physical effort and power that they work with, and they're equally paid, not $12 an hour, $18, $20, $24, $25 an hour. At a factory shop, Ford Motor pays so much money. If you work at a Toyota plant, you know how much effort it takes to work on a car? They get paid for exactly what they do. And even then the Japanese have to complain in their own country and say, sorry, our cars made in America don't meet the same standard as the ones made in Japan. So human beings are definitely at par with robots as well. But the problem is your mentality. The problem is you don't trust the humans. It's not about, even I was worried about corruptions in humans. But it is about you draining them for your personal good, not for the perfection that they can achieve for themselves. Because when they are independent and they work for an honest living for what they can get, then that freedom they have to be given. They have to be given that freedom, that their honest living brings them honest money for themselves. That is the society that I lived in America. It is not the society of draining and sucking power out of, sucking money out of, sucking effort out of the people of that country and even the planet that you've ruined so far. So, there may be better technologies coming. There's no end to technology also. You can get a different technology anytime. But the point is that this mentality that uses the technology has to be stopped. Yes, it's a money-making tool. Yes, new technology gives you an edge. Listen to someone like Steve Jobs. If you listen to his words, they speak volumes than someone like you. Steve Jobs contributed to the society, not drained it. Even the money it made, like the spaceship it made in California, Cupertino, he has left a legacy that is serving the planet. Everybody uses an iPhone. Why? Because it's stable. It works for them. It doesn't die. It doesn't corrupt. It does all the work for it. And of course, they value it and it values for what it does. And yeah, it's okay car. Tesla is an okay car. Not, I mean, I never bought it. Maybe I won't. But and other cars are good. Other cars are good. You had an advantage. You delivered a nice car. I've ridden the car once or twice, but it's a good car. Why would I say bad about that design? But yeah, so, but human, like, your effort, the way you started off was wrong. What you started was wrong. If you create, and then of course Netanyahu, for example, he talks about the Judeo-Christian roots. And let me tell you something very honestly. This is coming from a Buddhist in California that I know. When I was in college and I had a sort of a meeting with a friend of mine, and we were discussing what Buddhism, what God is, and what Christianity is. And he gave he gave me sort of a feedback on all other religions in California people follow. Like, there's so much freedom of Scientology, New Age, whatever. There's a New Age guru everywhere in California or in US. Even other parts of US, they are Native Americans. And of course other societies that exist, and such open thoughts are available for everyone to think and believe in. And it's okay. John Travolta, Tom Cruise, etc. All of them have their own, Deepak Chopra, whatever. All these people have their own visions and their own thoughts. And everyone has the freedom to live and appreciate what the reality of what suits them. Possibly there's a reason for that. But your vision, if your vision was sort of translated to Muslims and Hamas, and then you have to suddenly disassociate the three religions that originate from the same God. You believe in the same God, right? Islam, Judaism and Christianity believes in the same God, if I'm correct. Some people say that the Messiah, Moses, and then how after Moses another prophet came, and that was Jesus Christ, and then it split from Judaism. That's the root that they say. But in reality, Muslims also believe they came from the same root. I don't know what his name, Abraham, someone that this is their three wives, talked about three wives, and one of his wives gave birth to what is called Islam. That's the of that land. And then someone has another version of Islam, which they say Islam was first. That is the current version, and then many prophets have come, and they also have lived in other parts of the country. So even if you have a religion which is organized way of connecting to God, even if you're talking about it, then also if you're smart enough sitting on top and declaring a version, an umbrella that covers sort of the God that is there, that is what America was against. It doesn't want a colony from a king to tell him who God is. So it definitely doesn't want Netanyahu to tell who God is. When did Netanyahu become a prophet? By killing and torturing little kids, you become God. If you become God and that is God, then I don't even want to know who God is. You can keep your godhood and you can keep your kingdom wherever you are. If you do things like this, that is not God for me.